Welcome to the Inner Alchemy Podcast. I'm Phoenix, your host, and today with me I have Carlos.
What's going on, man?
Oh man, just chilling. Excited about having you on here today.
I appreciate it, man. I've been wanting to do this for a while.
Yeah. So I know Carlos through Facebook. I've been a follower of his for, I don't know, a couple years. Just kind of, I think that's how we connected in the first place.
Right.
And then you've come out to the Sacred Ember
Yes, I
and
have.
you've attended a retreat.
Yep.
You sat in the sweat lodge with me.
Sure did.
Yeah. And how'd you like it?
Man, it's been transformative, to be honest.
Yeah.
It has been one of the roots going into a new year because I want to be a different man.
Yeah.
I don't want to get older and be the same person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. What was that?
That was my dang. Let me let me hold on, let me my bad.
That was your glasses?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize I was gonna pick that up. Just because I'm my old lady's going to Houston. She just had surgery, so I'm kind of like,
Oh, so they like read text messages back to you and
Yeah.
stuff? Oh, damn, dude, that's cool.
yeah.
Does it do it on its own, or does it like
does
you
it
have
on
to
its
tell
own.
it?
No, it does it on its own.
So like you can just be sitting there walking around in the mall and like somebody texts you and it says, "Hey, so and so said blah 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 blah."
Yeah, you could have somebody send you some erotic stuff. Nobody would ever know. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
shit!
Yeah.
Can you also like see it? Or,
No, man, there are glasses like that, but they're more expensive.
oh shit! I didn't even know that existed yet, man. That's legit. Are those like meta glasses or okay? What'd you give for those?
Because I'm gonna get my $425.
Wow, that's not bad.
No,
That's really not bad.
there's these are Gen 2s. The Gen 1s are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
They can only record up to a minute. These you can record at 3 minutes. You have 3K, 1080, up to 60 frames per second. And then
Yeah.
it's got a couple of other goodies. But the lenses, they're polycarbonate, and then they're the blue light filters. So, because, I'm always on my...
Wow. Man, I think I'm going to leave that in the podcast because
Okay.
that's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. So I was saying...
You were new life, transformative.
Yeah, right on. So I remember seeing it on Facebook, and I had been looking for something like that. You know, when you be looking for something, the law of attraction, you put it out there, and then this flyer popped up, and I was like, a men's retreat. I was reading it, and I was like, fuck yeah. I need to go. And
Yeah.
then the first time, because I know I've been needing to be around other like-minded people or other men that want to be better for themselves.
Right.
And for their family, for their individuality, for their sanity, masculinity, all of the above. And the first one I wasn't able to make it, and I was tripping balls, man. I was like, my subconscious mind knew that I needed to be something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I used to do a lot of stuff like that.
Right.
I was a Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts when I was a kid, traveled a lot. All my 30s, man, I just grinded, man. Just
Right.
work. And I was like a drone. And I didn't really take time to really work on my mental and just be around other men, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I found it, came out, man, and it has been very revealing, especially from interesting on social media, shadow work,
Yeah.
your inner child, your inner self. There's so many things that I've needed to deal with, and this was a catalyst for me to do it.
Yeah. Good, man. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So let me explore that. I didn't even intend on talking about Sacred Ember, but since we're on the topic, how did you feel coming into it? Like when you were walking up to that circle and you saw all the men out there sitting, like, how'd you feel?
It was home.
Yeah.
I felt at home because I am a lone wolf type now.
Yeah.
I have acquaintances, but I don't have no friend group.
Yeah.
I don't hang out with a lot of people. I've had a lot of fun stuff happen to me, around me, and I'm just very observant of people's behaviors around me.
Yeah. I got you.
So you get to strip away the armor of masculinity or being men or just being hard all the time. And we were all there for a purpose. Everybody's going to get a different take out of it. But when I remember I drove up and I was like, I think it was the first time, and you have this really long driveway, and I was I hope I don't get stuck, you know what I'm saying? And then it was just the nature, man, because you're far enough from society, and I was just like, oh, because I missed the mountains up in Colorado, Wyoming. I used to work up there, and just like nature, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I need to get a fire pit. That's what I need to get, to be honest. But no, man, it was freeing, liberating.
Yeah.
It's been, and I've been every single one since the first time that I went, except took pictures and I still did the sweat lodge. But I think it's something that a lot of men, especially a lot of men that look like me or black and brown, they need it, man. I'm a big proponent of mental health.
Yeah, yeah.
I have been. That's the last 10 years. The stuff that's happened to me and things that have happened to my friends, you know what I'm saying? People that when I was younger. And I think it's imperative that Sacred Ember type of events are held. Something that maybe outside of the clutches of religion, not knocking religion, Baptist or Christian, but sometimes everything doesn't necessarily need a religious rhetoric. It can be a good base.
Yeah.
When you get to talking about shadow work and energies and chakras and things of that sort, some people, especially here in East Texas, man, they're going to look at you like, what?
This man's the devil.
Yeah, and I didn't come from that. I'm from Tyler, grew up here, or in the East Texas area, excuse me. And I knew I was different from even as a kid because I didn't do I didn't grow up typical Mexicano. I didn't grow up with the I went to quinceañeras and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And you being from Middle and Odessa, you already know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
every time you hear somebody bumping their music, it's like dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun,
right.
dun, dun, dun.
And I didn't grow up typical listening to that type of music. I listened to all different kinds of music. And then my mom, I was the only kid for 10 years. And so my mom put me in a lot of activities when I was younger and exposed me to so many different cultures, cuisines, way of life. So it really just, for 10 years, and even before my sister was born, man, I was the only kid, man.
Bro, like what you're explaining is the core understanding of the Four Agreements, that book that I talk about all the freaking time.
And I got that book. I hadn't read it, man.
Yo.
I've been one.
Read the book, bro.
I need to.
Like, matter of fact, I had a client the other day. She comes in and she's like, hey, a friend told me about this book. And she's been seeing me for a few months now. She's like, a friend told me about this book and I ordered it. She said it's like life-changing. And I was like, oh yeah, what book? And she goes, The Four Agreements. And I looked at her and I was like, I've been telling you to read that book for like months. Matter of fact, I probably gave you a copy. And she's like, no. And I was like, she comes back the next week. She's like, you did give me a copy. I have it at the house. And I was like, read it. But what I'm getting at is that what you're explaining is all the programming, right? Like in the book, he describes it as the world has a dream, right? The collective dream, the dream that everyone's dreaming together. And our parents, they don't know no better. Right. Their grandparents, our grandparents didn't know better. And so they just pass on everything that they know, everything they believe, everything that works or doesn't work or whatever. And you never get to create your own dream because you're inundated with the beliefs of those before you. And so the Four Agreements is all about identifying the agreements, the beliefs that you've made based on other people's beliefs.
Man.
And so what race makeup are you exactly?
My parents are Mexican.
Yeah.
But Mexicans are nationality. It's not ethnicity. You know what I mean? A lot of people misconstrue race, nationality, and ethnicity. And in the United States, man, we're so getting a giant boner over race and just, man, it's, if you go other places in the world, you know, it's not like this. But my people's from Guerrero, Mexico. It's a state on the Pacific coast where Acapulco is. It's not the same. Cartels like crazy, man. But my lineage is a little mixed. Well, not a little, it's heavily mixed. You know what I mean? I got a DNA test when I was younger because I wanted to know who I was growing up, knowledge of self. Being as young as I was, I think I was like 11, 12 when I started asking questions to myself, and then looking around, being in Cub Scouts, being in Boy Scouts, being in martial arts, being in all these other things. I was the only minority, man. I was all nothing but.
You were the only one at the Sacred Ember that first time too. Now I say only one. I was half Mexican until I was 35.
Yeah,
I used to be half Mexican.
And
when I say that, people are like, "What?" And it's because like I found out my dad wasn't really my dad, but like
you grew up in the culture.
Yeah, he's still my dad.
Hasn't
My grandma, man, she taught me. I learned a little bit of Spanish growing up because there were times where she would talk to me in Spanish, but yeah, I wouldn't say it was like a constant culture thing, but I definitely got to see a lot of it, man. Homemade tortillas are like, there ain't nothing like them.
Of course.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, but at the Sacred Ember, you were the only Hispanic or the only person of color, period.
Right.
There.
And that has been through history of my life, I'm the only this
Yeah.
at these networking events that I go to. Sometimes I end up being the only minority, or I end up being the only one that speaks more than one language. Or when I was, like I was saying, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I was self-aware enough because I read a lot of books when I was that books were my best friend when I was a kid.
Oh man, that's good.
And I'm like, why am I like the only brown kid? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Why am I
yeah.
the only kid that's just doing these activities? And then as I got older, a couple more kids. And then some of it later, as I got older, I had to do with money.
Yeah.
Then with martial arts, I had to do with homophobia. I had to do with just a bunch of other stuff and all these other subtleties in cultures.
Yeah.
But as I got older, like I said, man, now 14, 15, I was really self-aware. I knew myself.
Yeah.
And I was like going into school, and then just my hair, my skin complexion, just my features. I was like, something's amiss here because my dad passed away when I was a kid, and it was just me and my mom rocking for 10 years. Mom was 24 when my dad passed away. My dad was 29.
That's tough,
So she
man.
being in the country by herself, you're not going to have those conversations about genealogy, about ethnicity.
Your
But
origin.
even if she did know, it's not like you just said, she's only going to know what she was taught and beforehand. So as soon as I was able, I was 21, 20, I had a little bit of money, and I got the whole DNA sequencing, and it was very revealing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? But I didn't parade around and be like, now I'm this and this. You know what I mean? To myself, because it's nobody's business. you know?
Yeah, and that's, man, you highlight an important distinction there, because I think that too many of us, whether you're white, black, brown, whatever, if your race or ethnicity becomes your entire identity, you're looking for conflict, because that's what creates any kind of like embracing anything as this is who I am rather than this is part of who I am, or this is my human makeup, but it's not all of who I am. That's an important thing. It's interesting when we were talking about Sacred Ember at the beginning, you said that you would love for more people of color to attend something like
They
that.
need it.
In my practice, my counseling practice, when I graduated grad school and everything, finished all that. Well, when I was looking for a supervisor, because I had to get 3,000 hours of supervised practice before I was fully licensed, and I ended up getting a supervisor who's African American. And man, I got to learn so much through those interactions. Because I mean, being a white dude, I also don't want to step on any eggshells, but I also don't want to live in such a way where I'm constantly looking for eggshells. So I would ask questions like, do I say African American or black? And she goes, it depends on who you're talking to. But honestly, you could say black or African American. It's just whatever you feel like is okay. She goes, there's a difference between saying that and then saying it with the intent of it being derogatory. But one of the biggest things I learned is that and I learned a little bit of this in grad school too, through cultural diversity, but like Black and Hispanic cultures have a bias, maybe not bias, but like there's a stigma around seeking help for mental health.
El cucuy, yeah.
And in the first couple years of my practice, not even a couple years, I'd say one of the clients that I have that's been most longstanding is of a minority group. And it's been amazing to me. And through her, I've learned too. But it's like learning not only how to interact with people of another race or color, and I think that's silly to say because I don't think my interactions change at all. I think I'm me regardless of who is sitting in front of me, but also being aware of any personal biases that I carry on from those before me. And there's been a few. But one time somebody was telling me a story about somebody coming in while they were at a dollar store. And this person came in and was raising hell and acting a fool and doing all this stuff. I didn't realize it in this moment as I'm talking to them, but my assumption was that they were Black. And as we're having this conversation, this is unraveling. And then I asked him at the end, I said, can I ask you something? She's, yeah. And I was like, what race were they? And she goes, it was a white dude. And I felt like an asshole. And I didn't do anything. It's not like I was purposefully freaking
Societal constructions.
right.
Yep.
But it revealed that part to me. And so I started doing whatever I could to like deconstruct that.
We have to.
Right.
have to.
That's the work, man. And so many people aren't willing to do that.
No. They are comfortable being in their bubble. That's where ignorance is bliss reigns supreme, because from my own family, literally in my own family, my immediate family, it's been a I wouldn't say necessarily I'm harboring ill will towards family members. They don't know no better. You know what I mean? But then where I get a little flummoxed and just frustrated because I'm like, I have the same 24 hours that anybody else has. You know what I mean? Why do they choose not necessarily ascertain new ideas or develop new ways of thinking? Some people, man, they just don't know. You know what I mean?
Are you saying, so correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing, like you alluding to, is that because some of your families are people of color, they let that be the reason that they don't seek to better themselves?
Right. I'm not going to say that they use necessarily their culture as a bubble, they don't have I'm not going to say the capacity to know better, but that's all they know. You know what I mean?
I got you.
They're a product of their environment.
It's something I see, man. And dude, I am freaking thrilled that this is where our conversation has gone. I didn't intend for this at all, but I think it's important.
It needs to be had. It needs to be had. So I was saying, I mean, I can, from a humorous perspective to a serious perspective, Mexicans, and especially in East Texas, man, are very close-minded, and that's not necessarily like their fault. You know what I mean? You see what on TV about race of people, and then you think that's how they are, but then you have these implicit biases towards them, but then you realize that we're just like anybody. We all got to pay bills. We all got to do these things. But the majority thinks that way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But there is a piece of shit of people in every denomination, group of people. You know what I mean? So, if you don't know, you don't know. Now, where I have the issue is if you can culture people, and then I get looked like as a pariah, man.
You get grouped in with.
Right, because I'm like, I've gotten comments like, I didn't expect you to know these topics. I didn't expect you to know these big words. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
you know
you're
what I mean?
expecting me to be stupid? Is that what you're trying to say?
And so even in my own Black and brown community, like you said earlier, mental health is like on the bottom, you know what I mean? But we have so much trauma that needs to be unwound.
Yeah.
And this is, for me personally, that's why I came to the Sacred Ember, because I have a lot of trauma.
Yeah, and some of that, man, some of that's personal, some of it's generational. And it's my belief through and through that people of our generation, you and me, late Gen X, early millennial, even later millennial, that we're the chain breakers, man. Like we have the distinct privilege of having been born in a time shortly before the internet and getting to see the progression of the internet. And as the internet's progressing and coming out, we're learning how to use it. And so we've had the distinct privilege to like reach out and understand things in a different way. Instead of having to go to the library and check out a book, we can bring it up. If we want to learn something right there on the spot, we can learn it. Now, check your sources, but we don't have to go off of what Grandpappy told us.
No.
We don't have to go off of what our parents told us. We get to figure it out. And being in the generation that we're in, it's given us the ability to say, you know what, this is what my parents taught me, but that's bullshit. It's not serving me. It's not working. It's creating this, it's keeping this division. And I don't want to play that game anymore.
Man, and I love my mom, but that's literally what we're talking about is literally a microcosm of my mother. My mom is, for a long time, I held a lot of ill will towards my mother. A long time. Until as I got older and some things happened to me, I realized I had a ding. I was like, hey man, I broke down, bro. I mean, it was like such a stark realization. It's like, not even so much that my mom didn't know no better. My mom did the best that she could with what she had, because I'd learned all the shit that she went through on her own before she came to the United States.
Yeah.
And then to be by herself with an inherit that what my dad left us, and just piranhas in the water, sharks in the water trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think that's where the anger, the rage that I have inside of me, the Mexican Hulk or whatever you want to call it, because I was like, it's not my mom's fault, you know what I mean? Even to this day, I was like,
what would you say the anger is directed toward?
Humans are shitty.
Yeah.
Humans are shitty. We're at top of the food chain. We're the apex predators, but we also are the most destructive species on this planet. You know what I'm saying? We're a cancer to ourselves, to the planet. This is not me like Captain America, Captain Planet, I'm a tree hugger kind of thing. But you can't not say that we kill each other over the stupidest things, you know.
Yeah.
We as a collective consciousness, we haven't raised ourselves like you know, Allah, God, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I learned just the anger that coursed through my veins. Even to this day, I still have. That's another reason why I came to Sacred Ember. I know I have an attitude problem about some things, and I'm very sensitive when it comes to certain animals, dogs, kids, the elderly.
What's something recently that triggered that?
Man, I can go off. When it comes to my mom, I love her, like I said. She needs to go talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? But again, Mexican culture, it don't exist. Super Mexican, because she's been in this country longer than she's been in Mexico. But in her head, she still has that mentality. But it's just the way she is towards me, and automatically triggers me. And I've worked extremely hard to.
Like, is it like condescending or?
Yeah. It's.
Judgmental?
I don't think she both. All of the above. All of the above.
I'm like, mijo, why you do that?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of four. My three younger siblings have a different father.
I got you.
And she was the same way towards my sister, but my sister was way wilder than I was. You know what I'm saying? Even though we both had kids young, stuff like that, but. She's the only girl. It's 3 boys, a girl, and then a girl. But me, and only me, I was the oldest. I saw my siblings grow up. I had to experience all this. And I don't think she really takes the time to really think about it.
Yeah.
Or if she does, she just we've never really had that heart-to-heart conversation.
Yeah.
I've tried to.
Yeah.
But I end up just cussing her ass out, man. And
bro, it's one of those things like, and I learned this a while back. If I am holding out for either one of my parents to own the ways in which they hurt me, honestly, and reflect on them, and it ain't even about an apology. It's about saying, yeah, I can see how that fucked you up, son. Like being forced to go to church in the way that I was. You know, it started with a cult, and then it ended up with non-denominational, and I spent 34 years of my life pretending to be Christian. And I say pretending because I never felt like I truly believed it. But I felt that if I was to be loved, if I was to be accepted, if I was to be worthy, that I had to. And like I said, she was doing her best. Both of them were. So it's not that I'm like mad at them about it or anything, but just to hear my mom say, yeah, I could see how that was hurtful to you.
being accountable.
And she may not, and that's fine. But like I gave up on the idea that's ever going to happen. But you're talking about triggers. There's 2 things that trigger me, and let me know if either of these resonate with you. One is the egoic projection of superiority. That is anybody, white, black, it doesn't matter. Anybody projecting that they're better than somebody else for any reason, whether it's spiritual, whether it's race, whether it's political, it doesn't matter. That triggers me into, I wouldn't say anger, but protection, masculine protection for the person being minimalized. And the other thing is, you know, and so what that looks like, spiritual or superiority is what I would say that the majority of highly religious people have. It's I know the truth. I know the right way. You don't. You need to listen to me. You're going to hell. You're not good enough. You don't have this. You don't have that kind of thing, right? The second trigger is really just more of anyone who wants to shove me into a box that they created, which those 2 kind of go hand in hand. Because if somebody is projecting superiority, then they're also saying, this is the box I live in. You should live in this box too, or you're wrong. And I think that's what our parents do is they have this idea of the box that we should live in, and they want us to put in because they think that's best for us. And so that's where we can't blame them, because we're like, hey, thanks, Mom, for looking out, but fuck that box. I ain't going in that shit.
Yeah, I agree with both. The first one, the being the egotist or having, that's a little bit of, I've been that. I've been on both sides.
Oh, me too, bro.
I've been on both sides.
I tried to shove my kids in some boxes when they were
and then the other one where so many people, I think that's also where some of my rage comes from and chip on my shoulder is so many people put me in an idea of, and I'm like, man, fuck these motherfuckers, man. I'm like, but I don't want to live my life for the idea of others. I want to live my life for myself, for my own true means. But that is my mother. That not the ego, I told her I was going to start another business because the plot of land that the house that I grew up in, it's hilly, has a lot of leaves. So I was going to use that as practice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And her first comment, instead of, oh, congratulations or something positive, oh, you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, damn.
Every time that I've ever done anything, I was a part of a makerspace downtown Tyler for many years. That's where I started this whole digital thing. Didn't come once. I invited her to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I realized that I don't need to live my life for validation of my mother. It'd be nice because she's my only parent, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna be a rock with whoever rocking with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
If doesn't have to be. If you don't have to be my blood. In other words, I would like to have a better relationship with my siblings, and a lot of it. That's also some of it. If it is my fault, but some of it others is just there's other things that have happened. You know what I mean? But
I think we all do that, man. And that's, we're talking about shadow work, right? If you start to notice yourself doing the same patterns, right? Every time I get an idea, every time I get excited about something, I go talk to my mom about it. And then every time I go talk to my mom about it, she shits on the idea and I feel like shit. And then I get mad and then I feel discouraged. Like that in and of itself is the shadow. It's like seeking validation, right? And it's,
you want to be loved. You know what I'm saying? By
yeah,
your
yeah.
people.
What's the freaking word, man? Inadequacy. It's the shadow of inadequacy. It's okay. I need my mom to approve of this. I need her to cheer me on. You don't. You need you. And I learned a while back, because I used to love to tell everybody about everything that I had going on. And very few people were like, fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome. Most of them were like, are you sure that's a good idea? Or is that really going to work? And so I learned to move in silence. And so it started out not telling nobody nothing.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I need a mastermind. I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill.
Another book. I've never read it.
Phenomenal, man. Best book I've ever read. And it took a while because it's thick. But he talks about the importance of a mastermind. And a mastermind is two or more people that are on the same vibration, that are like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, let's do this, let's go. This is how it's going to work. This is why it's going to work. And so I don't have to move in silence anymore, but I know who I go talk to. And my mama ain't one of them. Now, nowadays, she cheers me on, but it's more like oh, cool, son. You know, other than like, oh, cool. Where's the resources coming from? What are you doing? And so it's almost like we have to let certain people off the hook to validate us.
And it took me, I don't think, man, that's something I struggle with, man. I think I'm always going to struggle with that. I try to find peace in it, regardless if my mom has an undiagnosed issue. She done been through so much trauma, you know what I'm saying? And I have to give her grace. I have to give myself grace. It's just fear too in her.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm not like seeking her validation.
Right.
Not like when I've changed, I've grown, I've matured. Who doesn't want a better relationship with their mom or their father or someone to love, a significant other? But it was just me and her for 10 years, you know what I'm saying? And looking back on it, she did the best she could, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then as an adult, I'm like, I'm not a little kid anymore. I think a lot of it stems also, 2018 was a crazy year for me. I think it's part of it's also because I try to off myself. And
Really?
I think a lot of what she harbors now, or she has, I think she still thinks that I'm like not right in my mind because
I got you.
She doesn't, I don't know if comprehend is the right word, but I don't tell her nothing. My mom is singing like a canary kind of thing. And that's something me and my sister, I was like, I texted her, I said, don't ever tell mom anything because she's just be chisme.
Everybody.
Chisme, that's the word, gossiping, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you're supposed to protect your kids. And if my kid came to me and told me something, either a licensed professional or the cops, if it's something, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not the cops, but you get what I'm saying, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's something that I hope in our relationship while she's still alive, that is a goal for me to have a better relationship with my mom.
Yeah.
And that's, again, it has to start with me, has to start with my temperament, it has to start with my patience because I was not a patient person. Oh man, that's a whole topic for itself. I was a patient. I want it right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that I needed to level up my thinking, level up my patience, just level up as a man. And so many things that are tied to what you teach or just here at the Sacred Ember or at the retreat ties into with what I have going on. So I knew that I needed to, like a comet, just
Yeah.
make a beeline and stuff like that.
Right.
Do like self-help, and it's okay to admit as a man that I need help. It's
Yeah.
okay as a man to, I don't know everything.
Yeah, man, I think that's the key to like freedom and figuring it out. If in your head you think you got it all figured out and there ain't nobody out there that can help you or teach you or tell you anything, like you are going to be stagnant for a very long time. But if you can open your mind just a little bit to say, maybe there's some people out there that know some shit that I don't. Maybe there's some people out there that have perceptions that I haven't entertained yet.
Yep.
Then you can allow yourself to grow and to flourish.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. But going back to your mom a little bit, like that's another thing in the 4 agreements, man. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. Like you already named it a couple times. You said that she's afraid.
I need to read the book.
Yeah, you said she's afraid. And you said, and so there's the fear of losing you or you being hurt or you failing or whatever. And all of that, though it doesn't seem like it in the moment, is out of a feeling of love for you from her. And so when you realize that what she says and does has nothing to do with you, it's her trying to protect what she loves, but she's doing it in a way that doesn't jive with how you feel, right? And what you want.
No.
And so you can let her be her and let that shit fly off your back like water on a duck's back.
I wish I could live through like these rose tinted glasses and just not to get off topic, but if you're a person where you don't feel like you fit in and you realize you're like an individual, you're living your life through a series of glasses that you see for things for what they really are. Now, whether that is only as an individual or for how things really are, quote unquote, not necessarily like what was the movie Them with Roddy Piper and he put the glasses on and they were huge. I don't know if you know the movie what I'm talking about, but in the movie Them, I think it's a Stephen King movie, but you put on glasses and you see these alien invaders, but they're living just like us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So to take it a little bit further, what Cat Williams said, I could wear these glasses and see what life is really like. You know what I'm saying? And I've always felt that I've been such a different person. You know what I mean? It's like none of my male cousins or associates or colleagues that are Mexican, very few of my black friends or colleagues over in my life, they never talked about what I've talked about. They ignore it. They don't talk about it. They suppress it and it becomes a cancer.
Yeah.
So I always knew that I'm very open about it. You know what I mean? And in that and of itself, it's not necessarily pigeonholed me, but it's because I do that, I have lost business. I have some people that stopped messing with me just because of the fact that I can articulate the fact of what's going on in my life. You see what I'm saying?
So it almost alienates you from
definitely.
what you might consider your people.
100%, because it's not supposed to be spoken on. You know what I mean? If Granny has bipolar, or she doesn't have bipolar, she's just,
Or great grandpa molested a bunch of people. We don't talk about that. We keep that in the family. We don't talk about it outside the family. Yeah, I see you, man.
I got told, I always talk about this. Growing up my entire life, anybody that was not black or brown, I always got the distinction that I have white people problems. That's I've my entire life. Even to this day, I still get that remark.
So you would complain about something, and they'd be like, "That's white people problem."
Yeah, I'm like, how is that Caucasian,
Man.
Caucasoid?
Yeah.
How is that a Caucasian problem?
Right, that's
You know
a
what I'm saying?
human problem,
Right. Like credit scores don't matter, or
Yeah.
financial literacy, or
And I think that highlights the boxes that we put ourselves in. You know what I mean? It says, okay, if I'm born in this area under this race, that means that I can't do this or this or that. Those are self-limitations. And when people do, the biggest thing that most people could do for themselves is to recognize and become aware of the limitations that they put on themselves. And man, we are swirling all around the 4 agreements today. You need to read that book.
I will be that book now. There's a
Hey,
sign,
yo,
man.
it's on YouTube too. It's like 2.5 hours long. You can listen to it. We listened to it again yesterday. Matter of fact, I was playing video games. Raina was cooking. We had it playing and we just listened to it. And every time I listen to it, man, it hits something else. It hits something deeper. I find a new way in which I've limited myself based on my cultural, or even not even just cultural, man, just being as a human, right? You turn on the news for a second, they're telling you how to be. They're telling you who you should be, what to believe. And when you strip all of that away and you decide, I am going to believe what I want to believe. I'm going to be who I want to be, and I'm going to figure out who the fuck I am
Right.
without any influence from somebody else.
I think to add a little bit on that, I think where I have excelled is I'm not afraid. I'm not going to say I'm afraid to die because I have still a lot of living to do, but I've been close to death more than once.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to fail as a business owner.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to be alone. And I have to put an asterisk on that. As long as I have a little dog or something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I love animals. I can stand on my own 2 feet,
Yeah.
10 toes down kind of thing. And I've been through a lot, man. We've all gone through some variation of trauma, but I didn't give myself enough grace. I didn't give myself enough pat on the back. I'm like, man, I done survived a lot of stuff. I think a lot of people, especially men, they are either masquerading around to being something that they're not really men, or they have a facade on, a mask of some sort. If you hear
Yeah.
what I'm saying, they're hiding behind it, whether it could be jewelry or money or whatever it may be. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think a lot of people, once they learn to strip away all these things that society puts us in, regardless of whatever ethnicity or race or whatever culture,
Yeah.
creed, I think we'd be in more harmonious society, man, because
Yeah.
it's craziness out here.
Was it one of the retreats that you came to where in the sweat lodge we were freaking hyped, dude, and like screaming like I am this,
I am awesome,
I am
yeah.
this. And then we're saying, I am capable of fucking climbing out of the fucking box you told me to be. I am who I choose to be. And it's moments like that, man. Like when you come to this like feeling, and that's what I love so much about the Sacred Ember, especially in the sweat lodge, is we spend all day creating this container, creating a group of men that trust each other, that or support each other, talk openly, vulnerably, stuff like that. And then we get in that sweat lodge and it all kind of culminates and comes into this explosion of fucking like
Emotion and
confidence
energy,
and
right,
emotion and standing in your power. But yeah,
There's people, and whenever they watch this, if I think you know who you are, you need to be here. I don't want to name anybody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's some people that I know personally that this kind of thing would help them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give them a baseline. Now, whether they come back again, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But I know that I need to be better for myself. I need to sharpen iron.
yeah,
I needed mental acuity. I was going to say like the 4 agreements. And I was the biggest bookworm, and I used to do so many things. I don't know what stopped. I used to draw. I wanted to be an architect. Had kid young. That changed. I used to write poetry. I used to rap. All these passions as a child, teenager, and then you start paying bills and all this other stuff.
life gets in the way for a
Right.
second.
And then now things are coming full circle, and I was like scatterbrained for so long.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I need to hunker down. I ended up buying a couple of animals, you know what I'm saying? I hadn't done that in a long time. I have to be responsible for something.
Yeah.
I got an amazing woman in my life. Life is what you make. You always hear that. But from my noggin, what's in here, I know that there's things that I need to do, i.e. like Sacred Ember, things like that.
Yeah.
I started working out this week. I'm
Hell
so as
yeah.
hell right now. Eating right, sleeping right, all this other stuff. I think I just need to turn over a new leaf. And
I don't know if you've ever heard of Bashar, but Daryl Anka, he's a guy that supposedly he channels an entity, extraterrestrial, extra dimensional. I don't really understand it, but he goes from Daryl Anka to like talking in a different way, expressing in a different way. Anyway, listening to what this dude says, man, it hits home every time. And it's regardless of the modality in which you receive information, if the information is golden,
it's relevant. Yeah.
it's relevant. But one of the things he says, and people hear me say this shit all the time, and I've probably said it in every single podcast that I've done so far, but he says part of the formula to like living your best life is to follow your passion in every moment of every day. And most people, when I say passion, most people think vocation. Okay, my passion is basket weaving, so evidently I need to quit everything and become a basket weaver. Nah, it ain't like that. It's in every moment of every day you follow your passion. So if I used the example the other day, you get up in the morning. When I get up in the morning, I'm passionate about that first cup of coffee. I'm passionate about getting it there, sitting down, waking up, drinking my coffee, enjoying myself. Now, if for any reason I get up and I'm headed towards a coffee maker, following my passion. And my wife's, hey, babe, can you take out the trash real quick? That's not what I'm passionate about. And following your passion every moment of every day is the ability to say, yeah, babe, I'll get to it, but I'm going to do this first. Now, how many other areas of life do we put off our passion because we have expectations elsewhere, or somebody else wants us to do something or something like that? Now, here's the caveat, okay? Because I could say, man, follow your passion every moment of every day. And you're like, I'm passionate about all these things, but I got all these other things that I've already created that are consuming my time and effort right now. It's not, dude, you didn't build the life that you're living right now overnight. And you're not going to deconstruct that life overnight either.
Nope.
That would be destruction.
Right.
But it's taking small steps towards realizing, okay, every time I have to do this thing, my body hates it. I feel anxiety. I feel fear. I feel just drained. And so it's okay. I'm noticing that I'm not passionate about this. And if I didn't have to do this, I would have time to do this instead, this thing that I am passionate about. And so it's slowly redirecting your life so that you are able to do all the things that you're passionate about, not all at once. Again, take your time, be patient. Like you mentioned, not enjoying the work that you do currently and wanting to get away from that. And from what I hear, from what you're telling me, you're putting things into place that will allow you to do that.
Rome wasn't built in a day, and things that I have going on, I know that's not. From a business perspective, I have the intellect, the foresight, hindsight, experience to make a lot of money pretty quickly. I have to have the systems in place. I didn't have the systems in place. You know how some people, like an athlete, they just get by on raw athleticism and pure talent. They don't do the fundamentals. I wasn't doing the fundamentals.
I got you.
I completely skipped the fundamentals. Right. Just went straight like I'm gonna be this person without doing the work. You gotta do the work. As an entrepreneur, you have to. Yeah. And it doesn't matter in what it is. I'm not gonna get giant muscles just because I think of it. I'm not gonna put on a muscle unless I put like on a muscle suit or something like that. And anything that you do, man, I don't know. Something clicked inside of me. I done bought some tools. I'm going to work on my own car. I'm like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if it's just getting older or a season. A new Carlos is coming out. I'm very tenacious. I don't know if I'm in the chrysalis stage and I'm in the cocoon. I was a caterpillar. I'm going to come out the beautiful butterfly. I'm enjoying this ride, but I think part of, like I said, is doing the work, man. Yeah. I got to do the work. I got to read the book, but just reading, man. There's so many books on self-help that I've never read. I read excerpts and stuff on it, but I got to actually digest it from cover to cover so I can take it upon myself, because what works for somebody else is not going to work for me. You know
right.
What I mean?
And what you're explaining, man, with the chrysalis, cocoon, butterfly, all that stuff. So in Sacred Ember, we use the phoenix, obviously. Look at my background, my name, all that stuff. And the phoenix burst into flames when its life is done. And then it's a pile of ashes. And then from those ashes, the phoenix is reborn and takes flight again. We go through that process over and over again in our lives, sometimes multiple times a year. And so but the thing that gets in the way is people don't want to let the parts of themselves that need to die. They want to hold on to them.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And so like when
bro.
When you become aware of a part of you that, like, let's say a limiting belief or some social construction or some cultural programming or whatever, when you become aware of that part, you have to be willing to face it, acknowledge how it's impacted your life, and let it die. And then from those ashes, boom, new you comes out and fucking takes on the world.
What you just said, I've said this at Sacred Ember. I know what mine is. Mine has been procrastination and women. If I can get those two things, I am working on it. But this time I'm backwards. I don't know if that's because I'm Cancerian nature. The crab walks backward. They go forward by going backwards, but I aim for Everest every time. I aim for Wimbledon, the Super Bowl. Yeah. I'd rather fall from the top than from the bottom. Some people, they're like, what? A lot of people are like that. They're scared. I don't want to do that. I'm like, I'll learn a lot more falling from the top than from the bottom. But now I done taken on a bill, bought a truck and stuff like this, and I bought supplies and equipment. And some people would say, I would have done this. That's you.
Right.
That's you.
Right.
That's nothing. There's nothing wrong if you have to start small, or I didn't buy all these giant machines and stuff like that. But what I'm doing is it's literally a parallel of my mind, because I go squirrel a lot. So maybe I need to go get tested for adult ADHD.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you have ADHD?
No,
because I got a whole ass thing about that too.
They tested me when I was in the second grade,
Uh-huh.
but and then they tested me again. The first time was, I can't remember, this is 1993, 1992.
Yeah.
Inconclusive. And the other time that it was like, no, I'm just very hyper. Like my brain is just, and that going back to what I was saying when I was 13, 14, and 15, being very self-aware, having the awareness. And I'm like, I'm sitting here looking back and forth, and I'm like, is nobody else like this? You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there talking to myself in my head, and I'm like, and then I started reading. I'm not proclaiming myself I'm a savant or a genius or something like that. But a lot of the stuff that I was read made sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that was 20 years ago.
So are you open to can I point out a pattern that might be occurring?
Yeah, go ahead. That's
All right. So the reason I asked about ADHD, stuff like that, what if the pattern and the reason for the procrastination and the seeming sometimes lack of motivation to achieve the things that you feel you want to achieve, what if the pattern that's causing those things is the fact that you're shooting for Everest every time? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So think of it like this. In the ADHD mind or whatever, because I got it too. Like some would view that, for some people, ADHD becomes their identity and their limitation, the thing that prevents them from succeeding and doing all the things. For others, ADHD becomes their superpower, right? Now, one of the greatest things that I ever heard, and this is very simple, but it's brilliant. And I remember telling my son over and over and over and over again, clean your room, clean your room. And his room was a fucking wreck, just ridiculous. And every time I would tell him to clean his room, he'd be like, all right, Dad, all right, I got it. There was one time in particular where I opened his door and I was like, fuck, son, your room is a mess. You need to clean it. And I saw heartbreak in his eyes, right? Because in that moment, what I said shamed him. And it occurred to me that it wasn't that he didn't want to have a clean space.
He didn't know how to.
It's that he didn't want to have a clean room. It's that it had become so mountainous that it was so overwhelming for him to even get started.
He didn't know where to,
And so his room was Everest. He didn't even know how to get started climbing that. And so in that instance, like he was gone at his mom's for the weekend or whatever. So I went in there and I deep cleaned his room, got it spotless, made his bed, everything. And I wrote him a note that said, never forget that you're not, or it's basically like, never forget to ask for help when you need it. And I got that idea from this other idea that I learned while I was a teacher working with kids with ADHD, right? The room's a mess. You don't say, hey, clean your room. You say, hey, pick up all your socks. And then you say, hey, pick up all your shirts. Hey, take all the plates out of here. One little nugget at a time. And so you break this mountain, you break Everest into small, tiny steps that you can take. And through each one of those steps, you're getting closer and closer to the peak, but you're not killing yourself trying to do it. So in my life, like, I've learned to do that because I'm all over the place, man. But I've got this podcast. I've got a podcast with my wife. So this is the Inner Alchemy. That one's the Sacred too. And then I've got social media content. I've got my practice. I've got Sacred Ember. I've got letters to myself, a bunch of different things that I'm working on. And in each moment, whatever I'm working on in that moment is what I'm passionate about. If I don't feel like doing it, I don't do it. I do whatever it is I'm passionate about. But if I look at it all as one whole big thing, Everest, then it's overwhelming and it shuts me down and I procrastinate and I don't feel like doing nothing. But if I allow myself to work on whatever it is I'm passionate about that time, usually it's a week or two, and then I'm okay, I'm over this, and then I move on to something else. But I've got this, like, I think of it as a circle, and all the things that I do, all the things that I'm putting energy towards are in that circle. And I jump from one to the other And so none of them, sometimes what I set out to do doesn't get done. But when I come back to it, it does get done. But it's allowing myself the grace to say, okay, I don't have to tackle Everest today. I'm going to do this thing. And then I'm going to do this thing. And then I'm going to do this thing. And then it culminates together and creates everything that I have. That makes sense?
Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't want to say taking my time. I'm not like rushing to go start cutting yards or doing junk yards. Basically what I'm doing, at least and anybody that watches this from an entrepreneurship perspective, we all need money. I think other than eating and breathing, we're always thinking about money. If you're a person that's scatterbrained like me and go scroll a lot, the next new shiny thing, because I have a tendency to do that. I've been fortunate enough that I could afford to do stuff like that. Sit down and listen to some music and create a system or for your enterprise or framework. And if you don't know what a framework or system is, you have ChatGPT. We're talking about something else on this pod, but just in the short term, I think some people are old school, and I still like to write stuff down on pen and pad, and I do too, especially if you're journaling.
Yeah.
But I think so many people, they got to buy the most expensive thing or all this other stuff, and you don't have to. Regarding to like Everest, I think for me now, it's okay, I've accomplished some really pretty crazy stuff, but it fell flat on my ass. I did it on myself. I didn't have the manpower. Not that I didn't have the resources. Manpower can be resources. I didn't have the system.
Yeah.
I didn't have the structure.
Yeah.
The proper structure. Because if you don't have the proper structure for, depending on what you're, and not even from like an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, that type of thing, or self-prop, I'm just talking about the structure of your business, man. And I'm not doing that again. You see what I'm saying? Right. But then even for my personal life, the same thing. I'm like, maybe not necessarily in terms of my Everest is females. My Everest is women because I was the milkman making my rounds. And that's my Everest. If I can extract the things that I did being a womanizer in my life, if I took that same energy and the same confidence and the same just drive, man, where would I be in my life? I've had this conversation with some people and that personally know me, and they're like, aside from the womanizing, they're like, man, you have it. You have this tenacious drive to be successful, this innate, I can't explain it, just fire within me. But
that's redirecting energy.
And man, I love women, man. I don't know. And I can pinpoint going to therapy from being younger and as an into adult. I've been in and out of therapy my entire life. I haven't been consistent.
Yeah.
If I've been consistent, consistency has plagued me. Not having patience has plagued me because I want it right now. You know what I mean? You can have it right now. You just got to have the right setup. You can't have a podcast without a camera, a microphone, or what. You can do it with your phone and stuff starting off. We all have different starting points. And I think a lot of people get discouraged because they see stuff on social media or online and they want to be like that. You want these lives, and then they get depressed and it creates this cycle. I could talk about that one thing about social media can be either the best tool or it can be the worst thing ever invented in the history of man, because from relationships to finances to family to a bunch of other stuff, you're like, someone's always going to have more than you. Someone's going to have this more than, regardless who it may be. Someone's going to have a better looking woman. Someone's going to have more money. Someone's going to live in a better house. You got to be happy with yourself, man. And happiness is a journey. And I think that's for me. I don't know what's happened really in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Something's changed. I don't know what it is, subconscious, between coming to the Sacred Ember and sleep apnea. I started working out. I know it's only been 1 week, but where am I going to be in 3 months? Where am I going to be in 6 weeks? Where am I going to be? It's not new year, new me bullshit. I know a lot of people start the gym and then it's diet, it's consistency, but
that's why it's not about losing weight, or it's not about creating some rigid structure that like you have to abide by, or you just shame yourself, because all that does is repeat the same pattern. Shame yourself, you feel like shit, you go back into the old habits, and then you try again next year.
Yeah,
you know? But when you make the focus, I want to feel better, I want to thrive, I want to live better.
It's okay to be successful. It's okay to have the things that you want and desire. Just know that you're gonna have to put in the work. You can't get knocked off by, you have these two cute little dogs and I want a dog, but I don't have the time, space, energy to deal with one. I have space for little creatures, for a tarantula and a gerbil.
Yeah.
It's cool watching them. It's just, I've always wanted a one when I finally
Right.
had one, or a praying mantis. Most people are like, oh, those are weird pets. I'm a weird person then. I'm whatever you want me to be. But having them right there next to my desk and I'm looking at them while I'm typing, it's just like, I got a praying mantis, a scorpion. I got a tarantula, and behind me is a gerbil, and I can hear them just scurrying along. And I have this caring heart,
Yeah.
because there's part of me, I want to go and pick up all the
Strays,
man,
all the rescues.
and that's just me. That's
Yeah.
You talking about passionate. That's a passion of mine. I could do that every day, all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then I guess my question there is, why aren't you? You know, well, because people, man, when I talk about what are you passionate about, people, they start answering with questions or with answers that are seemingly surrounded by either money or image or something like that. And so they're not really passionate about the thing that they would be doing to get the money or the image, but they feel like that's the only way I can do it. No, for me, it's the other way around. Figure out what you're passionate about and then build your life around that. So if it's animals and adopting a bunch of animals, foster caring animals, and doing all those things, how do you turn that into the thing that pays the bills? And sometimes, yes, sometimes you like all of the things that I do, I'm passionate about. There's some that I'm more passionate about than others, but the ones that I'm less passionate about create the possibilities and ability for me to do the other ones. Like podcasting isn't paying me money yet. It will be one day, but it's not yet. And so something else has to pay the bills while I'm doing that. My practice, I'm passionate about that too. It foots the bill for everything else. And so if like your lawn care business or any other business that you start, if that's not directly tied to your passion at first, that's okay. But if it starts providing the funds to follow your passion, great.
See, with that, it's tiers, goals.
Yeah.
Everybody got to have goals.
Right.
You're gonna have the action and the planning behind it, and execution and the discipline. So eventually, they're all going to be separate. I'm gonna have a holding company, and then everything's gonna be underneath, just tax structure, things like that. So
Yeah.
I've had money and I've had no money, but I'd rather be crying in a Bentley than a car. Or,
Yeah.
whatever. That's just me. I like nice stuff. So in order to have these nice stuff, I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy in spirit, mind, and monetary. I can't save the trees with hopes and prayers. You need capital.
Right.
You need coin. You know what I mean? So eventually, I'm hoping to be able to give people jobs, because I've been, I don't want to say, not the poster child, but I have been ostracized. I've been at the bottom of the bottom, you know what I mean? And I've been called all kinds of stuff. And I was bullied when I was a kid for a time. I want to give an opportunity to people, man, because this is how I know that I'm changing. I was a very selfish person, man. I still am, maybe with like certain things. It's only like the whole taco poppy and tech poppy persona that I have online. But that's little stuff, you know what I'm saying? If there's a new taco that comes out that at Torchy's, I want to be the first one to have it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A new piece of tech, I want to be the first one to have it. That's just me. But in terms of helping other people, I get a joy that I can't put in words. That's why I went into what I went to with websites and things of that sort, because there's a lot of money out here. Even the people, that talk about the media and all this other stuff and craziness, there's a lot of money out here.
Yeah.
There's ways to get money. I think if I can make a difference in being able to help someone, whether it be an ally, a consult, a fractional marketing officer, something to help them grow an idea, they just don't know how to get from point A to point B. And I'm the facilitator, the middleman, whatever you want to call it. And to see them that they don't have to work at their 9 to 5 and they can live off of this.
Yeah.
And to change their life. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I do want to, you asked me like a sanctuary or something for dogs. I need capital, you know what I mean? So once I have that capital, ain't no telling what I would do, man. I might be waltzing all over the planet doing all kinds of stuff. That's what I envision myself doing. You have vision boards and things of that sort. I've daydreamed. It's okay to daydream, things of that sort, and have these goals. but you got to have a plan, structure. And my problem was I winged it for so long because I know that I have a little bit of an intellect. But one thing I do have is the relentlessness to be successful. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I do have, I don't know, I wouldn't say a green thumb, but I do love nature. I love mountains. I love wildlife. So if I could be a Ted Turner and own 1,000,000 acres and preserve some stuff,
Yeah.
I will.
All right. So let me ask you this.
Gotta have some money though.
If a year from now, your vocational life and what pays the bills is perfect and directly in alignment with what you're most passionate about, what would that be? What would that look like?
Not working for another person, obviously. Probably busier than I am now, but I'm on a mission.
But what are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Man, that's a hard question to answer.
That's what I'm saying. You figure out the answer to that question, and then you funnel everything you do into that answer.
So I'm living my life day by day right now.
Yeah.
You said something earlier, and I wanted to chime in. Every day is a gift. Every day is a new you. You get to decide what you're going to do in that day. If you're going to let someone allow you to take you off kilter, then you just gave them dominion and power over you. And you go to sleep, you wake up, you're in this vicious cycle. I was in that vicious cycle.
Yeah, I see you.
I'm not in that vicious cycle no more. I'm in my own vicious cycle because I'm trying to do all these things, but it's my doing. You know what I'm saying? But I can say, I know for sure I have these goals. Part of that is the journey, and you can have all these goals and you can execute them, but life is such a roller coaster. I know from experience that I have to learn how to pivot. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, mentally, where I'll be a way more peaceful person than I am now.
Yeah.
The physical manifestation of what that would look like, I don't know. My lady has some land out in Lindale. Maybe create some passive income by building some residences out there.
Man, I know a lady. Matter of fact, the lady that takes care of our animals when we go on cruises and stuff, it's called Wiggle Butts. It's an Alba on her land right there by her house, but it's a kennel. And I think she's got 16, 17 kennels out there, but it's the nicest kennel that I've seen because you pull up and each kennel has an indoor section and an outdoor section. And so the dogs can come in and out as they please. And it's on the little section outside, that's where they shit and piss. And then they just go through with a pressure washer and wash it all away. But I want to say we pay $35 a day for both dogs together because they can stay in the same kennel because they're small enough. But she's killing it out there. She's making money hand over foot because you think about 16 kennels, $35 a day. And we have to book with her months in advance because she's always full. But that's an example of somebody who took something that they care about, caring for animals, and turned it into money. And like her overhead was next to nothing outside of building it. You know what I mean? And so, but that's what I'm saying. So 2 questions, and these, you don't have to answer them right now, but to contemplate moving forward. The first question I asked you, a year from now, what do you want to be doing? What do you want to ultimately pay the bills that's in line with your passion, that's in line with what you care about, what just sets your fucking heart on fire when you think about it? Second question, why am I not doing that now? Because that question exposes your limitations. The first one exposes your passion. The second one exposes your limitations. When you're aware of those 2 things, you drive towards the passion and you work on letting go of those limitations. Letting go of, for example, I want to work with animals. But as soon as you say that, your mind says, you don't have the money to do this, or that's not going to pay the bills, or you're not going to make enough money with that. Those are limiting beliefs. Who's to say? So when she said, I'm going to start a kennel, somebody could have been like, yeah, I don't see how you're going to make much money. You're way out here in Alba. Nobody's going to drive here to drop off their dogs, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. We go 45 minutes out of the way to drop our dogs off there before we go to the airport. You know what I mean? So all of those limiting beliefs that convince us that we can't do the thing we're passionate about because there's these stipulations that don't work with society or whatever it is, man.
I think for me, just because I have done so many different things in my life, I just had another movie that I was in. It's going to be on Tubi and Amazon Prime.
Oh, nice.
That's another passion of mine. Entertaining people, making people laugh. That's the thing about my brain. It's just this nuclear reactor that never stops.
Yeah.
Like a little Godzilla.
Yeah.
And my atomic breath just going 24/7. So it's learning how to harness that power, energy, and focus.
I got you.
That's why I got focus tatted on my shoulder, because I need to have a linear way. I don't know, man. I think the better, not to negate the questions, but right now is I'm doing stuff that I've never done before.
Yeah.
Like ever. I'm making myself, partly also because of my health, because I didn't take care of myself. I got 5 teeth removed a month ago. Go to the dentist, to anybody that you go to the dentist, and use your insurance I've been paying on. But I mean, I would like to be in, I can write down, I could be, purchase another home, have a better credit score, I want to be able to, one, see my son. That's like up here. It's the number one thing. 2 is my passport, get a dual citizenship from here in Mexico. Those are goals of mine. Those are attainable goals. Where my life will look like a year from now, man, I'm just going to enjoy the ride, like some Anthony Bourdain stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to be at a point where I can FHA 203A loan, where I can buy, fix, and flip a house. You know what I mean? Because my thing is multiple streams of income.
Yeah. Yeah.
My thing is generational wealth. My thing is teaching people. I have been asked to do these things, but I was just like, man, I have an attitude about it because I have tried, and maybe I just didn't find the right kind of group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was just like, man, I'm just teaching this stuff to people that are not even going to listen. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I'm not on some Goodwill Hunting stuff. I got to find like a knucklehead like Matt Damon played in the movie, but I'm passionate about kids. That is one thing that I am very passionate about. I have done multiple times now. I've gone to schools in DFW and I've spoken to kids about getting this money, don't get somebody pregnant, stuff like that. And a lot of kids are impressionable, but I know the triggers or the vehicle that it requires for them to pay attention, because a lot of parents, they, like we talked about before, they put their limited beliefs. And I've told kids straight up, I've told people within my own family, I'm like, don't listen to your parents. Respect them, but they don't know what the F they're talking about. And this is not disrespect to my family members, but some of y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. And y'all putting these limited beliefs on your own children, and it's going to stunt their growth, and it's going to cause them have problems later on in life. I'm a product of that. Yeah. Whatever it is that I can do to do things that I'm passionate about, that's what I'm doing now. And I'm taking out the roots that were inside of me, and I'm planting new ones, and I'm putting in, and I'm nourishing these new seeds, so that when they germinate, I can have this beautiful bloom, whatever that looks like. Because
what I'm hearing, man, is you've got a ton of talents. You've got a whole bunch of different things that you're good at. And man, if you're anything like me, like I honestly believe that there's nothing that if I decide I want to do it, I can't do it. I used to say that I'm efficient or proficient in everything, but a master of nothing.
Yeah, master of all trades, master of few. That's what I've said.
Yeah. But it's you hear people say, I got to get all my ducks in a row. You get your ducks in a row, but you also got to get your ducks all walking in the same direction. And when we first got on here, we talked about Sacred Ember. You said you put it out in the universe that you needed something like that, and then boom, it popped up. That's what I'm talking about. That's what those 2 questions are for. Because and again, I'll reference Napoleon Hill's The Law of Success. Right? He talks about it in there. It's called a definite chief aim. And your definite chief aim is essentially a statement. Mine's in there in the bathroom on the mirror. It's been there for a year and a half. And like when I wrote it, none of the things that I have going were going except for my private practice. Now, matter of fact, after the second ladies retreat, I walked in there and I looked at the mirror and I giggled, because I was like, oh shit, all of the things that I wrote down a year and a half ago are happening. So your definite chief aim becomes you putting out into the universe, this is what I want to do. This is what I want my life to look like. And my definite chief aim says that I want to share my knowledge and experience through podcasting, social media content, one-on-one sessions, and retreats.
And I'm going to go back on and really enjoy helping people. It's just I've wrestled with how. There's, I don't know how familiar you are.
You're helping people right now.
The YouTube verse. So there's the red pill content, men, the manosphere, There's a lot of men that are living a quiet life of desperation.
Yeah.
I know this because I am one of them. I have been one of them.
Yeah. I was one too.
And you have your terminology, you have all these different words for women and men, and just, so my thing is, especially with this kind of stuff and technology now, these glasses that I have on, I'm trying to find a balance how I can, from a business perspective, making videos, but there's the humanity aspect of a business. You see what I'm saying? And then you start making money. And then the first thing you want to do is, I'm going to go impress the girl that I really like and all this other stuff. Don't do that, man. You know what I mean? That type of content, I can make that every day, 24/7. My problem is I have to be structured enough. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm
creating that structure.
creating the structure for a business, for my life.
Yeah.
Time management was another big one for me. I have it on I have two Apple Calendar and my Google Calendar, and they talk to each other, or they're synced on two different things. So I'm going to try to follow it. Is it going to be perfect? No. But somebody called me that Mexican Elon Musk, and that was a really good compliment. And I took that, and my head didn't get bigger, but that meant a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was talking about
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. I think that's funny. Elon Musk. That's a good one right there. Basically, how a lot of Spanish minority-owned businesses are not utilizing the power of technology and social media and marketing, or they're not marketing. And then I hate to see people that put their life savings into something, and then for it to fail, for them, a predatory marketing company or something like that, to take all their money. It's not necessarily the fault of the predatory company. They just don't know, you know what I mean? So all these things in my life
comes in.
All these things that I have gone through, have experienced, I've spent, I don't even know how much money I've spent on equipment and supplies and stuff like that, and how much money I've wasted on women.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's all these life lessons that I have been able to, and I look at myself, like, if I could just project a younger me, what would you say to your younger self? I'm like, not have kids. It's so young, you know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, if I didn't have kids, I don't know, man.
If I didn't have kids so young, the motherfuckers would still be in the house being raised. And right now I am fixing to be 42 years old next month, and I've got a almost 20 and almost 21-year-old out there living their life. That's one thing I don't regret. Now, were there times through the times that I was raising them at freaking 19 and 20 years old? Yes. There was times I was like, damn, I should have waited till I was like 25, 26. But today, nope. I'm empty nested, and I'm only 42 years old. I got a whole life ahead of me.
Same. My babies are grown. Shout out to my children. But I think part of the nexus of just transitioning from one thing to another is, I was a womanizer. I was selfish. I was destructive. I was a lot of different things. There are people that will never, ever admit anything of the things that I just said because of their pride.
Can you see? Because one thing for me, because I had a little bit of that going on too for a long time. And when it hit me, how much that was not only hurting the people that I was engaging with, or that I was in a relationship with, or whatever, but how much it was hurting me. Like you said, it's all of your energy and focus has been on that for so long that, like, you look back and you're like, that's time I ain't getting back. That's energy I ain't getting back.
Nope.
But that's where the pivot happens, man. That's where you can forgive yourself for that and be like, you know what? I fucking did that shit. But guess what? The phoenix is rising again. And this time, you don't need that shit no more.
No, because, man, I've had to learn the hard way, the very, very hard way. I've talked to enough men that I've had male acquaintances and colleagues over the years that don't get a date, not even a date. And now with the proliferation of dating apps and social media, constant validation and access to men and women, which is really horrible for relationships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Freaking, what's the app with the little yellow one?
The Bumble?
No, not Tinder, nothing like that. It's a chat app.
The yellow.
The one that deletes your Snapchat. Yeah, dude. Snapchat was the devil for a long time for me.
Oh, really?
Just because it made being sneaky easier.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And man, I've heard a lot of people, but I'm glad for the experience of doing so, because I know what I don't want to do to myself anymore.
I don't want to self-destruct, man. And we are our own worst enemies. I was the prisoner of my own mind, that I created the shackles and this gate, you know what I mean? And I was just imploding time after time. I was like a video game character with unlimited lives. I was
Yeah.
just dying and then respawning, dying and respawning. And all throughout my 30s, all throughout my 20s, there was times of enlightenment. Because I've always, see, the thing about it is that I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to stop.
Yeah.
Man, because
it made you feel good.
I was out there,
Man,
bro.
it's like with every
I was
woman
out there, man.
that looks at you in a good way, that like you impress, she's impressed with you, she makes you feel good. And all of that, dude, it like feeds
The monster that was the
ego.
ego.
And then you're like, okay, I'm not gonna do that no more. And then you start feeling that because that's what it looks like to be unhealed, man. It's like when you can't provide for yourself that admiration,
feed my soul the right way.
then anyone else that does it, you like leech onto that. And you're like, man, that feels good. That feels good. I like that. I like that. Keep going. And then that one gets old. And then you look for another one. And but that's what self-actualization is, just coming to realize that you don't need anyone or anything outside yourself to find peace, to find wholeness. That's what self-love looks like, baby.
I'm saying this like in a passive aggressive. I know how to love myself and the things that I like to do. To read. I like to play with kids. I love kids. My old lady's got 3 granddaughters that I done just got super stuck on.
Yeah.
I love my nieces and nephews. My nephew, I almost caught myself. My face got hot. My nephew's never my Marcelino. His name is Lino. Everybody calls him Lino. Lino. My nephew is 2. And he's just like his dad, very shy. His dad was shy when he was a baby, just reserved.
Yeah.
But he just came up to me. I didn't know they were there. They had already left, and they had came back. They had a death in the family and his wife's family. And then I felt a little arms hug my leg. I'm like, wait a minute, who's this small? And I looked down, and it's my nephew just hugging me. Bro, it hit my heart. I was like, he's never just, I only see him when they come down because they live in El Paso. He lives in Fort Bliss. My brother, and he hugged me, and I was just, it just took me for a second. I was just like, and then I saw my niece. I was like, oh, y'all are back down here again. That's like the joy of my heart, the light, love of my family, my nieces and nephews, they're innocent. And I picked up my niece. I'm like, oh, you done got a little chubby, just messing with her, you know what I mean? And just making her laugh. And I picked up my nephew, and he was touching the ceiling. Those are the things that I live for, you know what I mean? Things that make me happy. So if I can extrapolate that emotion and what can I do to be around them more, whatever I got to do those things, I will do. So maybe not necessarily like in a year from now, how I can be that way. You know what I'm saying? In the relationship with my siblings, repairing, being a better brother, being a better son, having more patience with my mom, having more patience with myself. You see what I'm saying? Not doing the things that are self-destructive, but I don't drink as much as I used to.
That's good.
I mean, it's, health too. And then
it's part of taking care of yourself, man.
I didn't, man. I didn't. The whole, not the terminology, what am I trying to say? The whole basis of a woman being a succubus and me being an incubus, I lived that life for a long time. And a lot of people, oh, I'm just horny. And there is so much more to you giving your energy just to, or allowing somebody to enter your life, you know what I'm saying? And I was a product of that because you take something from every person that you're with, whether you know it or not, from a physical, spiritual manifestation. Because if you're around a lot of drama and you get with somebody that's peaceful, it is such a mind fuck. And then you self-destruct and you want to create chaos in their life. I don't like peace and quiet. I want the craziness. I did that to some people, you know what I'm saying? And I did it to myself because I felt comfortable in chaos. Now I realize that I like the chaos of creating like a business and stuff, what comes with it. I'm not afraid to fail, but I don't want to create chaos in the lives of the people that I love and are near and dear
or
to me.
people that they don't want it, you know? Yeah. I feel you. I don't know, man. When you can say to yourself, and some people consider this selfish, I don't give a fuck because it kind of is, but like when you can say that I am the most important person in my life, and how I feel matters, what I do matters, and who I engage with matters, what I eat matters, what I put into my body matters, how I sleep matters, everything matters. And you prioritize yourself over everyone else, kids, wife, mom, everything.
You can't be the best version of yourself. No, you can't even be there for people if you don't take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Some people don't understand that,
Right?
man.
No. And so I've heard people tell me the Bible says deny thyself. Yeah, but it's not talking about deny yourself. It's talking about deny your ego, integrate your ego in such a way that your ego isn't shitting all over everybody. But to put yourself as a priority means just that, following your passion in every moment. Rather, if somebody's pulling you in this direction or somebody's pulling you in this direction, or that chick's hot and this chick's got a nice ass and that chick has some bomb ass pussy, whatever it is, like, you don't let that pull you in that direction unless that is exactly what you think is best for you. But that's the thing is, man, in so many of those things, where there's women, alcohol, any vice that we have, we create these shame patterns, where we're like, man, I really want to do this. And we're like, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And then we go, and most of the time, it's not exactly how great we thought it was going to be. It's actually a letdown. But then we shame ourselves for what we just did. And so then we're like, okay, I'm never going to do that again. And then we do it again. And then we shame ourselves. And so you keep yourself in this never ending cycle of
Destruction.
Shame, feel better. Shame, feel better. Shame, feel better.
What is that called? A temporary fix, or it's a phrase when you get yourself to feel better just for a little bit, and then it goes back. And then
Yeah, it's a crutch or coping. Or,
a coping mechanism. You know what I mean? My coping mechanisms were not healthy. Now
there's a difference between coping and numbing. Okay, like numbing. Let's say I can use, like, if my mom was to pass away or something, and I start drinking. Right, at first it's coping. It's like coping with the overwhelming feelings of what just happened.
It's okay to have a drink and just be responsible.
But if then that becomes something I'm doing every day, all day, now I'm just numbing
the pain.
And so we can numb ourselves through women, through alcohol, through drugs. Shit, dude, some people numb themselves with washing the dishes. It's finding anything that prevents you from feeling what you need to feel. And so for some of us, I would imagine, for me, with the women's side of things, it was noticing how lowly I thought of myself. It was recognizing how I thought I was the biggest piece of shit on the face of the planet. And it was sitting with the feelings of everything I had done and all the people I hurt, instead of running from those feelings and numbing myself. And when I actually gave myself the time and space to sit with those feelings, then I was able to process them.
And I ran from my own emotion. I didn't allow myself to process.
Yeah.
And my coping mechanisms were not healthy at first for a long time. And then I was numb. I was numb to a lot of stuff. And I think it's normal to be able to feel these things, you know what I mean? I think it's just, if you don't have the tools, whether if it's going to a therapist like yourself, or working out, or doing something, if you're arguing with somebody that you love, your significant other, engage with, just go for a walk, you know what I'm saying? Blow off some steam. Don't go to the bar and start hammering shots after shots, and then it just makes the problem worse, you know what I mean?
But if you do that, recognize why you're doing it.
A lot of people don't, the way that they self-medicate, they don't ever end up not knowing the why. They just do it. And you challenge them on it. You ask them as a friend, as a confidant, or whatever the case may be. And then they get pissed off and they get defensive because they don't want to see that broken inner child.
You don't want to look at it.
They don't want to see themselves. No, you have to be a mirror of yourself. You have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. Accountability. But a lot of people, when they look in the mirror, they're disgusted. So they hide behind so many different things, regardless if it's jewelry, not literally makeup for women, but a different type of makeup behind their car or something. And they never deal with it, man. And it grows and it grows. This cancer, this spiritual cancer. And then you end up just, that was me.
Yeah.
That was me for so long. I just had this vicious cycle year after year after year after year. And it finally came crash. You can't, regardless if you believe in karma or not, you can't go in life doing the things that I was doing. Anybody that does that type of thing, regardless if you're robbing people or stealing from people or breaking people's hearts, you know what I'm saying? That's
what you put out comes back.
Oh man, regardless,
but that includes the good stuff too.
What you put into the world, you know what I'm saying? But I was a magnet for negativity, and it all came to a head in 2018, and it just, life happens, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
I almost paid the piper, and it took me a couple of years to get out of that fog that I was in. And then 2021, 2022, and then I just kept going. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here, is things that I'm better prepared, or I'm better equipped for the shit that comes into life. I don't know if that just comes with age, experience, both. You know what I'm saying? I'm not exactly sure how that would look like, but I think it's important to, as an individual, especially men,
Yeah.
to know that there's things out there, the Sacred Embers of the world, or there's therapists, or there's the gym. You don't have to stay that way. You don't. If anybody listens to this, you don't have to stay in the predicament that you're in. We're not living in some regime where you can't even. We're not North Korea. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where you can't even do anything. You can go to the gym. You can go walking. You can do whatever the heck you're not gonna do.
The invitation to better yourself is right around the corner anytime you want to start taking it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, man. I don't know whether if it's fear, lack of knowledge, a lot of different things. It's
It's a
just
stigma, bro. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I started this podcast. Most of the stuff I put out on content for social media, and then the Sacred Ember, man, is to destigmatize mental health, to destigmatize asking for help,
no.
and to destigmatize. What is the most widely acceptable drug on the planet?
Tylenol.
Alcohol.
Oh,
You can go anywhere, man. Anywhere, just about. There's still some dry counties out there, few and far between, but you went anywhere. And there's like, I go to BJ's. Like, Raina and I love BJ's.
the
Right?
brew house.
Yeah, we love it because they got a huge menu. You can eat clean there. It's just good. And the first thing that the servers always say is they point our attention to the drink menu, and they say, we got this special everywhere. And that's what it's like, is everywhere's like drink, 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 drink. And again, I'm not demonizing alcohol. I'm demonizing the ease of use that alcohol has become. And I'm demonizing, I wouldn't even say demonizing, because ultimately we all got to make our own choices. But like, when things that numb you are so readily available, why the fuck would you want to do any work when you can just go be numb? And so to destigmatize mental health and I guess make it commonplace to understand that improving yourself is work. It takes dedication. It takes desire and awareness of the things that you don't like about yourself. And instead of running from them and never looking at the mirror, you look at it and you say, okay, I don't like this.
I think for me personally, I'm sitting here wish-washing in my brain. I think a year from now, I don't think I'll be living in East Texas.
Yeah.
I think if I am, it won't be where I'm at currently.
Yeah.
I love where you live, just away from everything, and then your neighbor with the 900 acres.
Yeah.
All the
Elk and all that
man,
stuff.
just hearing that,
Yeah.
it's just because even though I'm in East Texas, that is the one thing that I can say about East Texas is the natural beauty. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
The
love it
rolling
out here.
hills, the land, the trees have.
Got 14 different lakes within 20 minutes.
I got hay fever, so I have allergies and stuff. I can just
Yeah.
take a pill. That in itself, the hustle and bustle that Tyler's becoming, they didn't properly plan, and it serves a purpose. I used to be super negative,
Yeah.
and just towards myself. So now I look at like where I am in Tyler, just Tyler in general. Shreveport's right there. DFW ain't but a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
I'm blessed enough to be able to go to these places. I work extremely hard for what I want. Houston's a little bit further, but I can get on a plane from Allegiant Airlines in Shreveport and fly to Colorado, and I can be in the mountains in a couple of hours. You know what I'm saying? So I have options.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want to live in DFW downtown. No, not downtown. Fuck no. I like Fort Worth a little bit more, but out in the country a little bit, same thing. But I don't know, man. I think I love Japan.
Yeah.
I have this weird obsession with Japan, the Japanese culture.
You ever been?
No,
Oh,
no,
man, I lived in Okinawa for 15 months.
Oh,
It was pretty amazing.
yeah,
That's where my son is right now.
Oh, really? I have people that have gone there, and they're like, man, I would ever lose my mind. You know what I mean? Just the people.
Not the food, the culture, man. Like, Okinawa was a place where if you're, 2 or 3 year old, got out the house and was walking up the street, everyone there is like looking out for that kid, just like they would be looking out for their own kid.
Right.
And so you ain't got to worry about your kid getting snatched. You ain't got to worry about stuff like that. And just the culture, it's almost like a large community rather than a city that houses just a whole bunch of individuals that don't care about each other.
That's one thing I've noticed with the Chinese and the Japanese. They're homogenous. They move as one kind of thing. Even though they have, in Japan, they have the different prefectures, and in China, you have the different states. They have the country and the city just like here, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I'm living my life one day at a time right now, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think it's things like this that help. If I can look in the camera and tell people the do's and don'ts of this and that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys that have asked me how to get a date or how to get
Yeah.
laid or stuff like that. And I'm like, the kind of women that you want, bro, I keep it 100 with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be accountable. Not even accountable. You have to be realistic. I'm like,
Right.
unless you got some serious money, you're not going to get the kind of people that you want. But in general, that's not the kind of people that you want to be around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it's more imperative to look at yourself and just be happy, whatever that may look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think what you just said about this platform for mental health, man, that's raising awareness through the conventional and unconventional means, because a lot of people, you have these giant podcasts, whether if it's JRE or Diary of a CEO or Impact Theory, or there's just so many different ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You were in the military, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
But you have those types of podcasts and streaming now, all this other stuff. At the end of the day, the core of it is just try to help people, you know what I
Right.
mean? My thing, like I had told you, there is a giant awareness that there is a renaissance that needs to happen in the Black and brown community in terms of mental health.
Yeah.
There is so many fractured homes, single parent households, the nuclear family has to be destabilized. And I don't want to sound like one of these YouTuber bros, you know what I mean? But the stuff that they're preaching is actually fact, you know what I mean? I was getting a haircut when Charlie Kirk got killed, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
And even though I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that I didn't agree with a lot of stuff he said, and I agree with some of the stuff he said. We have the freedom of choice here in this country. You know what I mean? It really struck me. I was like, that was vicious. You know what I'm saying? To watch somebody die like that.
Yeah.
He was a father. Then you get all these conspiracy theorists come out. I'm just looking at the action of what happened and what he stood for. You know what I mean? He stood on his own 2 feet. He was for men and family and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, if we can put our personal differences aside and open up dialogue and conversation between races or sexes or just people, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can benefit, have at least tools, or have people that maybe that look like them or speak the same language or vernacular to be able to assess, damn, man, maybe it was the turning point that they saw this interview or another interview or something where they can get help, man, because everybody needs help, man, at the end of the day. I think we have too much, I hate the word toxic masculinity. I don't think there's such thing. I think you can be too much of macho of a man where you're not going to let your woman drive and keep her pigeonholed into the house barefoot and pregnant kind of thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
we don't live in those times anymore. Some guys believe that, you know what I'm saying? Don't get with a woman that's not like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming out.
Oh, no problem, man.
And I think we've had some pretty rich conversation here. So there's, I guess, a tradition or whatever you want to call it that I've tried to start doing with each episode, and not to put you on the spot or anything, but you mentioned this earlier too. But if there's one thing that you could tell the younger version of yourself that you know today that you didn't know then, what would that be?
You don't have to create a alternate version of yourself to survive, to be yourself. You don't have to be something that you're not, because it's going to attract the wrong things, and you're going to live a life that's not your own because you're living an idea that isn't yours. You don't have to conform to the societal standards of the world that we live in to sit there and it's such an old proverb, to really sit there and enjoy life and smell the roses, because life goes by in an instant. I was 18 yesterday, and I'm a lot older than that now. To be who you are, and even though that's such a cliche thing, but whatever that is for a lot of other people, but for me, it was to follow the passions that I had and not get knocked off of them.
Yeah.
And follow my heart, because at the end of the day, man, there ain't nobody going with me to the afterlife but myself. So
Yeah, I like it. So be you, live in the moment,
yep.
fuck the box.
Yep.
All right, bro. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate
No
it.
problem,
And,
man.
I can't wait. We'll do this again
Yeah,
sometime.
yes, sir. Anytime.
All right, man. Cool. Thanks.